So to find the weighted average cost of capital of the firm at the new capital structure, we first have to calculate the new levered beta risk. We can then use that to find the new return on equity. So to find the new levered beta, we need to first find the unlevered beta. To do this, we need the old levered beta. So since the initial stage of the firm has a capital structure that has debt as part of it, there's some debt in its capital structure, the first beta that we start out with is a levered beta, but it's not levered at the capital structure that we want it to be. It's not levered at our new capital structure. To get to the beta to our new capital structure, first we have to unlever that old beta and get it into an unlevered form, and then we can relever it at the new capital structure. So you can never go directly from one levered beta to another. First you have to unlever it, and then you have to relever it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So from the CAPM equation, we know that the rate of return on stock, our cost of equity, equals the risk-free rate plus the market risk premium times the beta of our stock. And again, since we're starting out with our capital structure that has debt in it, the beta of the stock is levered. So we write B sub L. Well, we plug in what we're given. We know that the cost of equity is 14%, 0.14. The risk-free rate is 4%, 0.04. The market risk premium is 8%, 0.08. And we're solving for the original levered beta. So when we do that, we move the 0.04 to the other side and divide by 0.08, and we get a beta of 1.25. So now we need to unlever this beta. We need to find the beta that would be if we didn't have any debt in our capital structure. And then we can use that to find the beta of the new capital structure firm, the new levered beta. So for this, we need the equation that relates an unlevered beta to a levered beta, which is this one. It's the beta of an unlevered firm is equal to the beta of a levered firm divided by 1 plus the debt to equity ratio. And for a debt to equity ratio for this part of the equation, you can either put the actual dollars of debt you have right here and the actual dollars of equity you have, or the percent that it makes up. It's going to work out to be the same thing. The ratio you're going to get is the same. So if you're told you have $1 million of debt and $3 million of equity, you could plug in those numbers right here. Or if you're told you have 25% of your capital structure is debt and 75% is equity, you can plug in 25% and 75%. That ratio will work out to be the same thing. So we plug in our debt to equity ratio, and then we multiply it by 1 minus the tax rate. And so we have all this information. The levered beta is 1.25, the debt to equity ratio is 0.25, and the tax rate is 0.4, 40%. So we plug that in, and we solve for the unlevered beta is 1.086956522. Now you get long answers like this, it's best to just leave them in your calculator so they don't affect your final answer. Sometimes the accuracy is important to get exactly what is in there as part of your multiple choice answers. So now that we have the unlevered beta, we can relever it at the new capital structure, which has a debt to equity ratio of 1. So that's the only thing that's changing. This ratio in this, the denominator of this fraction right here, that's changing from 0.25 to 1. And so now we're basically going to rearrange that equation, solve it for the levered beta, and we get this equation. The levered beta, beta sub L, is equal to the unlevered beta times 1 plus the debt to equity ratio times 1 minus the tax rate. So we plug in our unlevered beta for this term right here, and that's where this term comes from. We plug in our new debt to equity ratio right here, which is this 1, and then we plug in our tax rate of 40%, 0.4, and we find our new levered beta is 1.73913. And we can see that's higher than our old levered beta. Our old levered beta was 1.25, and this is higher, which should make sense because we have more debt now. Our firm is more risky, so our equity investors are going to require a higher rate of return on their investment. So now we can use the levered beta, we can find the new cost of common stock. Just going back to CAPM, the cost of common stock is the risk-free rate of 4%, plus the market risk premium is still 8%, times our new riskiness of our company, the new beta. That's going to give us a return on stock of 17.913%. Thus, the weighted average cost of capital for the new capital structure is going to be the rate of return on debt that our debt holders require, times 1 minus the tax rate. Remember, we always use the after-tax cost of debt because of the tax shelter that debt financing creates. And we want to multiply that by the weight of debt in our capital structure, plus the rate of return that the stockholders require, times the weight of our capital structure that's in stock, that's in equity. We have all this information, we just plug it in. The debt holders require 6% return, the tax rate is 40%. The weight of debt in our capital structure is 50%. Now we have 50% debt, 50% equity. So this number right here is going to be 50%. This number, the weight in stock, is going to be 50% as well. And here we put the new rate of return for stock, which is 17.913%. We write it in decimal form, 0.17913. And we find the weighted average cost of capital is 10.76%.